So leadership to me is about, accountability. It's about giving gratitude, and it's ultimately about caring.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Championship Leadership Podcast. We got Ruben Dua just outside of LA here today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for the invite. This means a lot to me. Championship leadership. Let's get into this.
Let's go, baby. Yeah. So good segue. Championship leadership. What does it mean to you when you hear that?
Well, I think that I'll start with leadership. And I think that there's sort of two definitions of leadership, which I connect to the most, which I've been able to gather through basically interviewing people and learning from other people that are smarter than me, frankly. And here are those two definitions. Number one is the definition of a leader is someone who there's a mirror and there's a window, right? So when you look through the window and you see your team, okay, not from a hierarchy place, but just from an equal place, you see the people to whom you owe gratitude, the people that are doing the hard work. And when you look in the mirror, you look at how can I improve myself? What is it that I can do within myself to become a better person, right? And this is the reason why I like this definition is because it's a little bit tough and it's a little bit maybe self-loathing, like, oh, I'm the person that needs to fix and everyone around me is perfect. You can criticize this pretty easily, but there's something really beautiful in this, which is that we create the universe around us. The team that's around us that maybe reports to us, if we're a CEO, if we're a leader and we've got this team, we've created that team. The choices that we've made, the HR, the hiring process, the corporate culture, the way that the salespeople are getting bonused and compensated, everything is created by us, per se, if we are that leader. So if we look at flaws in the system, the second that we take ownership of those, all of a sudden we become liberated because we're not a victim. We're not a victim to other people's stuff. We can actually affect change. And we can actually say, let's improve this. The salespeople don't feel motivated. What's up? Is it the compensation structure? Is it the sales cycles? Are we not using the right technology? Are we not using video to prospect? That's my bet. I'll get into that later. What's the issue? What's the conflict that arises? And then, of course, how can we solve it? So it sort of empowers us to be able to look within that mirror.
Yeah.
And then to give gratitude to the team as a leader, I think is everything. Because if the team does not feel gratitude, I don't know how anyone's going to feel motivated. What is the old saying? It's not, they don't care how much you know, they know how much you care.
Yeah, right.
They don't care how much you know, they know how much you care. And that's rooted in empathy and compassion and understanding. And great coaches know that. In fact, at one point in my life, I was the neighbor of John Wooden. And John Wooden, the famed coach, UCLA.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. And
UCLA?
And he had, I say that because I see the basketball behind you. He had so many boxes come to his porch that he had to remove 2 wood panels from his porch so that the UPS and the FedEx guy could literally put boxes, like 10 boxes a day. Because otherwise they'd have to go and they'd leave him in front of his door, and then that was a big mess. So he created a little portal in his porch, like specifically for the deliveries. And it's like, why does he get so much fan mail? Why did he get so much fan mail? Why are so many of his people saying that they have so much gratitude? It's because, well, what he did, he used to do these famous, someone told me this, he used to do these famous like 5-minute walks where he'd go on a walk with players and he'd just be like, all right, this is vulnerable. We're all equals here. I want you to know that I care. So leadership to me is about, accountability. It's about giving gratitude, and it's ultimately about caring.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I love it. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I like the mirror and the window analogy as well. I hadn't heard that before, but yeah, John Wooden. I mean, I loved his book. His book on leadership actually is probably one of my favorite books, definitely one of my top leadership books. So I've always looked up to him for sure. And I'm a sports guy. Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? I know you mentioned a little bit, very briefly about digging a little deeper into what it is that you do, but yeah, a little bit, open the the window into who you
Yeah.
are and the journey you've been on to get where you're at and what you're up to today.
Well, the people that I love to support are people that are ultimately trying to make relationships in business. And when I say that, I mean external relationships. I mean, when we work for a company, when we have a team, of course, we have to have a good synergy with our team, and that's important. And that usually happens organically if we're on Zoom or if we're meeting or if we're doing stuff like this. It happens organically. The more difficult place to create relationships in business is when it's outward. When you're in sales, when you're in business development, when you're creating partnerships, when you're trying to actually shake people's hands, either physically or virtually, to accomplish a mutually beneficial goal. And I've sort of realized over the course of the last, since I was basically 18 when I did my first tech startup, that the biggest challenge in humanity is trust. Everything comes down to trust. The reason why we have eye contact, the reason why human beings smile is because we want to convey trust. The reason why we put our hands up and shake a hand or go like this or anything like this, it's because we want to convey trust, whether it's to, tribes in the early days, or whether it's now through business, through a prospecting situation, salesperson, buyer, so on and so forth. So this trust factor is the biggest thing that we need to figure out how we can overcome, because we can craft the perfect email. We can write the perfect script for a cold call or a call to our client. But the question is, are they going to trust it? And if they don't trust it, then they can't engage, they can't react to it. And ultimately, maybe there's no business to be done if they can't trust it. So everything starts with trust in relationships. So that's not new. We've heard that 100 times before. Personally, professionally, everything starts with trust. So the big bit here that I have rooted my life into is this idea that video allows us to connect, to create that parasocial relationship. We can actually look into people's eyes with video and make that connection and feel empathy and feel compassion and feel curiosity and ultimately feel trust. Know, like, and trust. People talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm the CEO of a platform called Dubb. It's a video communication platform. We help people in sales to communicate with video. Now, these are asynchronous videos. These are not synchronous videos. This is not like a Zoom call where people are speaking live. This is pre-recorded content.
Yeah.
So it's with the mobile app and a Chrome extension and a desktop. It's a lot of different ways to capture videos, our face, our screen, all the above, and to convey it and to build trust and ultimately drive conversions.
Yeah. Love it. It's just made me think, because and I haven't really chatted with too many people on this podcast yet about this, but Chat GPT AI is definitely a thing that everyone is talking about right now. So I'm curious, because I know it will even change the video space, right? Like, as it continues to grow. What's your thoughts around that, or how that will change what you're doing, or because and two, like, the importance of what you talked about, like personal relationships and building trust amongst people. And then, Chat GPT and AI, I feel like it's kind of taking people away from that a little bit, or it has the opportunity to.
Yeah, I love this question. It's important that we start to understand this, that we start to talk it, have healthy dialogue about what the heck AI is and how it's going to affect our lives. And it's one thing what it's doing today, but let's just fast forward 10 years and it's, AI, the speed at which AI is becoming more intelligent is faster than anything that we can possibly fathom. It doesn't even make sense anymore. This old school tech law called Moore's law, which is something to the effect of every 18 months, the number of transistors required in a piece of technology, in a piece of hardware, can be halved and the speed can be doubled. So basically, every 18 months, our laptop can be half as small and twice as fast.
Yeah.
And if you scale that over 20 years, 30 years, it probably makes sense. It's kind of linear and it's on a trajectory that makes sense, right? We have a laptop from 10 years ago. It still works, but it's kind of clunky, right?
Yeah.
The thing about AI is that it's just getting faster and faster. It's like it's the ultimate snowball effect in terms of how it's acquiring information, processing that information, and then spitting it back to us. And so to answer the question very specifically is, we're completely embracing it wholeheartedly. We have no choice to.
Right.
If we don't, then someone else is going to. In fact, we integrated a whole AI assistant into our Dubb platform, which is actually available on all accounts. We actually don't charge for it the way that OpenAI does, and it allows people to solve some of the issues that they're facing with when they're trying to start conversations, build relationships, build trust with people. So what does it do? It solves writer's block. Okay, I need a sales script. I need a sales script. I got a cold call. I got to call someone. I got to call an old client. I got to write an email. I have to write a blog post. I have to write an article. I have to write a script for a YouTube video, an outline for a social media post, right? Throw that query in there and watch what happens. It's amazing. It's actually amazing what happens, because it goes and it finds everything and it collects it and it cures writer's block. Now, does it replace writing? Does it replace humanity? Does it replace personality? Well, obviously it does not. I mean, in fact, there's so much technology right now that's determining when content is created by AI to block it. Like Google is now creating AI blockers. They're creating AI creators and AI blockers because they don't want people to make AI blog posts and mess up their whole search engine experience. So we're embracing it, and if you haven't, we highly encourage you to do so. There's so many different ways to do it. You can get apps, you can get Dubb, you can get ChatGPT. You have to put your phone number for ChatGPT. That's noteworthy, but get on it.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and I think to your point, I mean, it's here and it's here to stay, and it ain't going anywhere. So you can choose to embrace it or just get completely passed up by it. So yeah,
right.
But anyway, well, I appreciate you taking time for that.
Yeah, to be really ominous, you can choose to embrace it or choose to have it embrace you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Well, let's shift gears a little bit from that conversation and what's a critical moment in your life where you made the decision that you did, which has you where you are today, but had you not, you'd be in a very different place. I love this question because I think there's a lot of people in this situation, and it's just always powerful to hear how others have chosen in certain moments to help maybe guide them. So is there a moment or two you could share?
Well, I think this question for me, it has to be rooted in risk. So what is the risk that I was willing to take? What was the decision to, refi the house, to start the business? That's a big decision. That's a big family decision.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of things go bad with that one. In fact, most of the time they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The decision to, getting fired, the decision to say, you know what, it's a door closing and the entrepreneurial window opening. And I am now forced to create runway for myself to go be the entrepreneur that I want to be, and not postpone this for years and years. That was another really, really tough one. It's these ideas where you burn the boats. Napoleon Hill talks about that. Think and Grow Rich. When you cut the safety net, it's those moments that were most integral in my life when I cut the safety net. And it's really hard to do because that's what elicits our amygdala response. And it's all the fear factors, come into play. Right. And you start thinking about stuff that actually hasn't happened yet. What if this happened? What if that happens? All these hypothetical situations. But if you can overcome that and you can say, I'm going to do everything I have to make this happen, all of a sudden things can work out. Now, it's not a guarantee. There's a lot of failures that entrepreneurs have to go through to get ultimately to where they want to be. And that's the weeding out process, which is unfortunate, but it's absolutely necessary. But those are the two most integral things that I can think about. And again, it's just rooted in taking the leap of faith. What is it in Indiana Jones? The penitent man will I forgot the line. The penitent man will pass, and it's jumping over the abyss, knowing that the bricks are going to pave their way, and those bricks are your hard work and your experience and your education and people that support you and the goodwill that you've created. And that's why it's important to network and get savings and do everything you need to do if you're going to be an entrepreneur, because those are the bricks that will allow you to pass over the abyss to the next part. You have to invest in those bricks,
Yeah, the risk, I mean, definitely. And then also, kind of probably in the same breath of, try to put yourself 40 years from now and looking back, if you didn't make that decision, would you regret it? Right. And I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
my personal experiences have always been that it seems like life typically works out no matter what, right? You always, you're either going to learn something great from that'll help you out in the future, or it's going to be the right call, but life wouldn't be any fun if we had all the answers, right? I mean, it would be just kind of mundane and more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, isn't it about the journey? I mean, that's such an
Yeah.
important part of this. I mean, one of the things that I think about a lot is, are you happy where you are right now in your life? Right. And this idea that, hey, I've got a dead end job, I got a sales job and I'm not making the money I want to make, and my boss doesn't respect me, and I don't really like the product that I'm selling, and I'm frustrated as hell. Right. It is, a lot of people think I need to get out of situation X and to get into situation Y, because situation Y is going to be better than the situation that I'm in right now. And the challenging thing about this idea is that I think that with this philosophy, you actually never end up getting to ultimately to wire happiness. It actually never happens, because once you're in the next situation, then you're like, now this is not good. Now I need to find something else. So, one of the things that I've really tried to do in my life, which is probably the hardest thing ever, it's to embrace the situation that you're in and to find the joy in it, and to really say, I'm actually going to get the most I can out of this opportunity, and trust in the universe that there's going to be a gift on the other side. Now, if that means you have to have two jobs and enjoy both jobs, then that's what you got to do.
Right.
I've done that. At one point I had 3 jobs. So, it's one of those things,
Yeah, absolutely. As we start to wrap this up, what, if there's one or two things that you could give the listener, and if they were to apply today, would help move their life forward today, what would that be?
This is such a great question. I think that that answer is the following. How kids do that? They don't know the answer, and they're like, the answer to the question
drag it out just a
is,
little bit. Give yourself, buy a little time.
So in that 5 seconds, I found it, and this is it. It's getting over our childhood traumas.
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
Because those childhood traumas, they follow us. Hey, you're not a good podcaster, you're not good in sales, you're not a good guitarist, you're not a good vocalist, you'll never amount to anything, you're a loser. You don't deserve that. There's voices in our head, someone that was not in a good place in their life, God bless them, but they were not in a good place, and they were taking it out on us. And we had to take that. We had to receive that from people. And now in our adult lives, maybe we actually created that agreement. Maybe we actually believed them because we were malleable at the time. And, fast forward 30, 40, 50 years later, we're still not good at that thing because we never invested time into it. We never actually prioritized it and said, I'm going to go play basketball for an hour a day and get good at it. I'm going to go sing. I'm going to go work on my sales. I'm going to go read books. I'm going to get educated. I'm going to try to aspire to be a CEO. We didn't do that stuff because someone told us not to. So if you get over those traumas in your mind and actually are able to liberate yourself from them, realizing that you are the master of your domain, you create your environment. We talked about that at the beginning. You're just looking in a mirror. There's no one else that is affecting you. You are ultimately responsible for your path. I mean, barring terrible outlier situations that we can't control, barring those types of situations, if you have at least 2 limbs, maybe 1, maybe 0, if you have a heartbeat, and a brain, the sky's the limit. It's just a choice.
Yeah, amen to that for sure. Definitely agree. What would be the main way that the listener can find out more about you and the Dubb app and everything that you're up to, like follow you? Social media or website that's the best?
Yeah, totally. So I'm active on YouTube. I would say active on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Those are my channels. Ruben Dua is my hashtag for everything. RUBENDUA. And check out Dubb. Dubb.com. It's a video communication platform. Grab your phone, grab your monitor, and just record a video and send it to someone that you want to build a relationship, and watch what happens. Watch what happens when they watch a video of you on a landing page with the call to action, your calendar integration, a way for them to book a time with you. Watch what happens when they meet you. Ultimately, it'll be like, I feel like I know you. I feel like I've watched a video of you, and I feel like I know you already. And what that does is you get over this huge trust hurdle and that icebreaker hurdle, and you're just into it. It's kind of like a podcast. Like when you and I jumped into this podcast, it's almost like we're in the same club. We do the
Yeah.
same thing, and we just, there's a trust factor. And it's a very similar thing that happens with video. So check out dubb.com when you get some time. And most importantly, I would say, invest in yourself. YouTube is the most amazing educational resource on the planet. I have a paid YouTube subscription. It changed my life because I can listen to long videos while I'm driving, put the display off, and it's just audio only, and it's just like an educational thing.
Yeah.
So TED Talks, how-to tutorials, music theory. I'm a musician, music theory, anything that you want to learn, just go invest like an hour a day and watch what happens after 6 months. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I appreciate having you here today, Ruben. It's been great. And for the listener, if you've enjoyed this conversation, don't go anywhere. Just stay right here. We got the next episode coming up, and appreciate you once again, Ruben, for taking the time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Nate.